Coming up in this edition of Cogeco News, a fire takes a life just outside of North Bay on Wednesday night. The Prime Minister in hot water yet again. And soccer returns, at least soccer practices return. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to this Thursday edition of Cogeco News. I am Greg Estabrooks. An adult male is dead after a late-night fire at what was a long-abandoned building on Pinewood Park Drive. The call went out at about 9:30 on Wednesday night, and fire crews, police, and paramedics were on the scene quickly.
About 9:30 last night, fire crews responded to an abandoned building behind us here for a working fire. When the fire crews arrived, we had smoke showing, a small fire, or it appeared to be a small fire. The building was boarded up very well. It took us a little bit to get into the building, so we immediately began a fire attack and began a search for victims. Quickly found one victim. The first fire crew brought out the victim, began CPR. When the second fire crew arrived on scene, they took over CPR. They went back in to continue searching. When EMS arrived, we gave the patient over to EMS, and they worked a while on the patient. Unfortunately, the patient was pronounced on scene.
Now, the fire marshal comes up here, Chief. What is their role specifically in this type of fatal blaze? And because it was a fatality involved, does that change their dynamic?
So the way our legislation works is that for most fires, the fire department is responsible for investigations, which we do, but when there are certain criteria, so like a fire death, large loss fires, explosions, or ones of criminal nature, the province is responsible, or the police department becomes responsible if it's criminal in nature.
And none of that's really been determined at this point, although I've been reading that it's not deemed suspicious.
Not yet, but it's still under investigation. Yeah, the criteria is the fire death, and that's why the fire marshal's here and the police are all working together.
And one of the fire marshal's many roles is to determine the cause of the fatal blaze.
Yeah, so that's what the fire marshals, the police, and our fire prevention division are working to determine the origin and cause of it. We have a good idea where the fire has started, but we're still working at the cause of the fire. And obviously the coroner is going to schedule an autopsy for a cause of death. Dealing with a building like this that obviously is not up to code and hasn't been occupied for years presents one problem. The fact that there are homeless people in some of these homes when the fires occur is another significant problem, a problem that Whiteley says isn't going away anytime soon. Yeah, this is a very big concern for myself when it comes to public safety and firefighter safety. That we're seeing now with the homeless population that they're breaking into these abandoned buildings, especially in the wintertime or in cooler temperatures. They're using fire to stay warm or fire to cook. These buildings most of them are not structurally sound, so putting firefighters in to do a search adds that extra element of danger. Our crews are aware that we just can't treat an abandoned building as an abandoned building. That if we can get into these buildings, we need to do a search to ensure that there are no people in there. We'll update the story as soon as we get more information from the fire department or the police department. This in moments ago, although it had been talked about for a while, the face mask mandate will be taking effect 12:01 on Friday, just after midnight. Face coverings, says the health unit, must be worn in enclosed public spaces. This means indoor spaces of businesses, organizations, services accessed by the public, including public transportation. Face coverings should be worn, not mandated, but should be worn in other spaces, both indoor and outdoor, where physical distancing is challenging or not possible. We'll have much more on that story on Friday. Well, all we are saying is give Justin a chance. Well, that's what the government is hoping and Liberal supporters are hoping for. However, the opposition parties and their supporters, probably not so much. With Prime Minister Trudeau mired in yet another scandal, will this minority government be able to survive? With his analysis, here's our political expert,
Dr. David Tabachnik of Nipissing University, who spoke with Clark.
I think it is very serious. Anytime there's a scandal, it's serious. Of course, he's had a couple of other scandals during his time as Prime Minister. He's obviously weathered those. Will he weather this one? It's hard to say. I mean, we're in a very sort of unique situation here during this COVID crisis and a minority government. He's riding high in the polls in the 80s and maybe high 70s, but that's never going to last. And I think we are now seeing movement that Trudeau has lost a lot of the sort of gains he made during this COVID crisis. And I guess the question is, will this result ultimately in an election and loss of government for the Liberals?
Opponents are calling for the firing of Finance Minister Bill Morneau. How realistic is that request?
I think, once again, the opposition probably got a little over its skis here. I mean, you can't just sort of go for the, biggest thing, quit, resign. They should probably wait till more evidence comes in. There may be something there, but we just don't have enough information yet.
Is this a missed opportunity, being that the Conservative leadership race is still ongoing and there isn't one unified voice attacking the Liberals?
I think so, really. I mean, Scheer is trying his darndest, but really he's a lame duck leader, and the Conservatives just don't have that person out front. They don't have potentially someone like Peter MacKay with lots of experience in Parliament, able to really present himself as an alternative to Trudeau, which they're painting as a corrupt Prime Minister.
What is a successful recipe for weathering a scandal? Is it distraction of a news cycle? Is it effective change of the dialogue? What makes for a good weathering of the storm?
Well, it's a bunch of different things. I think generally speaking, you want all of the information related to the scandal to come out at once. People digest it, and then they move on. What has happened here, at least to some degree, is the drip, drip, drip of new pieces of information. And now we're going to have the Prime Minister testifying at this committee, and will we learn something yet more about the interesting relationship between the We Charity and the Liberal government?
Dr. Tabachnik had this to say about the effect of this scandal on Liberal support.
I think for Liberal supporters, these kinds of scandals are very frustrating. I think that in general, they support the Prime Minister and the policies, and in fact, Canadians have. Why, then, does the Liberal Party have to get itself involved in these kinds of scandals, which I think is very frustrating to people who support their policies?
As with everyone else this year, we are getting ready for a different type of celebration. The AIDS Committee of North Bay and Area has had to adapt to the current situation. This year, they have produced educational pieces that will highlight World Hepatitis Day and can be seen on their Facebook page.
World Hepatitis Day takes place every year on July 28th, bringing the world together under a single theme to raise awareness of viral hepatitis and to influence real change. In 2020, the theme is Find the Missing Millions. Worldwide, 290 million people are living with viral hepatitis and are unaware. Without finding the undiagnosed and linking them to testing, treatment, and care, millions will continue to suffer and lives will be lost. By taking a holistic approach tailored to diverse populations, the AIDS Committee of North Bay and Area works to ensure that people living with and vulnerable to hepatitis C are appropriately identified, linked with equitable care, monitored, and treated. My name is Matt. I am the Regional HIV Hepatitis C Education and MSM Outreach Coordinator with the AIDS Committee of North Bay and Area. In the past, hepatitis C was not commonly considered a sexually transmitted infection. It was typically only considered to be passed through blood-to-blood contact. However, over the past 2 decades, the sexual transmission of hepatitis C is increasing in prevalence among two-spirit, gay, bisexual, queer, trans, and other men who have sex with men. Several social factors have heightened our vulnerability for the sexual transmission of hepatitis C, including racism, homophobia, stigma, and discrimination, as well as structural barriers that negatively affect our access to services and prevention strategies. These barriers affect our mental, physical, and sexual health and can prevent us from feeling comfortable to access services that will support us in optimizing our health and wellness. At the AIDS Committee of North Bay and area, we welcome and offer health and support services to all two-spirit, gay, bisexual, queer, trans, and men who have sex with men. We recognize and take active steps to dismantle barriers that members of our community may have experienced to accessing services by taking a holistic, anti-stigma, anti-oppressive approach to service provision. We have specific programs and services that offer affirming access to one-on-one support, testing and treatment for hepatitis C, HIV, and other sexually transmitted and bloodborne infections, access to effective prevention strategies, and harm reduction services. On Monday, July 27th, we invite you to join us from 2 to 5 p.m. at PharmaSave Marshall Park Pharmacy, located at 524 Lakeshore Drive, for hepatitis C testing and to learn more about hepatitis C as part of our World Hepatitis Day initiative. You can also call our office at 705-497-3560 to book an appointment to get tested for hepatitis C. Help us find the missing millions by getting tested for hepatitis C in your community.
Break time has arrived here on the newscast. When we come back, Pet of the Week and some good news for the Legion. We welcome you back to more Cogeco News on this Thursday. Royal Canadian Legions, some good news. They're starting to reopen next Thursday at 1 p.m. is a magic date and time for Legion members and members of the public to begin to enjoy each other's company once again. Clark has more.
COVID-19, Legion Branch 445 will welcome back in membership and the public next Thursday, July 30th, beginning at 1 p.m. Important protocols will be in place to prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Everyone comes to the lounge side. That'll be the door that's open. You have to wear a mask. Those are health regulations, not ours. There will be a book at the door that you have to sign so that we know who is in the building at that particular time. And the reason for that is if down the road somebody comes down with COVID, we can look at that book and we can say, oh, Joe Blow was here on that particular day, that particular time, so then we can contact them to let them know they've maybe been exposed to COVID.
How exciting is this for executives of the branch?
It's so exciting because we all know that no money has been coming in except what we've been able to get from our bottle donation, but that doesn't pay all the bills. It helps, but it doesn't pay all the bills. So to have the Legion start to come back again, and it's going to be a slow go for sure. It's not going to happen overnight.
Any events planned for the near future?
At this point, no. We're going to go day by day. So we're opening next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 1 to 5, and we'll see how that goes. because of the restrictions on numbers, the restrictions on having to clean the washrooms in between, things like that, all that has to be logistically worked out.
And there's some fancy new masks that the Legion has. Will you be
Yes.
selling these? And can you kind of give us a
I'm going to
display?
show you one.
Look at that. So are these for sale?
They are. They're $10 a mask. They're actually they've got a nice coating on the or filter on the inside. They're actually very comfortable to wear, and yeah, no, they're great. $10 a mask, and we have them in our Legion.
And should people sign up, say I want to come in at this time, or do they just come to the door?
They'll come to the door. Now there is, I think the number is 40. You can only have 40 people within the lounge at one time. We don't anticipate having any more than that, and if that happens, then obviously they have to wait outside. They could have a drink on the patio. It'll be set up too, so we'll just have to, again, play everything by ear. It's just never happened before.
And for veterans and members of the public alike, how much of a morale boost will this be to kind of see old friends?
I think it's going to be a huge morale boost. I'm in charge of membership, so I've just been phoning people, actually just the other day, reminding them about paying their 2020 dues, and a lot of them are like, well, you're not even open. So this is going to just help the Legion immensely.
Support, 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 yes. A staggering fundraising total to announce following Tuesday's Mike Monahan and Furry Friends golf tournament starring Clark Heupel. There were other celebrities there, but not in the same scope as Mr. Heupel. That took place at Osprey Links in support of the North Bay and District Humane Society. More on that in a moment, but first it's Pet of the Week time. This Thursday we have a dozen cute kitties soon to be up for adoption.
This is our Zen room right now at the Humane Society. So we've got 12 little kittens that have just come into us as a transfer from another rescue. So we're seeing a lot of really late kitten season this year, which we're going to blame on COVID, but who knows why. So it's definitely something that, I mean, we're really lucky to have all of these little guys coming available in the near future. So if anybody's looking to have a new friend in their home, you can see how cute and adorable they are already, and only going to get better as they grow up.
Is the one mother the mama kitty for all these kitties?
I anticipate not. So we've got one mom in here trying to keep all 12 of these little guys under wraps. She's doing a very good job at the moment, but they are all eating their hard food, growing already. They're vaccinated. So we're just monitoring them at the moment, making sure they're thriving in the shelter environment. So we are looking for potential foster homes, forever homes, and people that are just interested to give us a call. We are going to be housing some of these down at the Lakeshore Pet Value. So if anybody's interested in visiting them, they can go down there.
And from what I hear, there were more cats here before they were transferred out, even just as recent as yesterday.
So the Humane Society, as much as our doors are closed to the public and we're kind of, working on a day-by-day, moment by moment, but in the last 48 hours, the Humane Society's brought in almost 70 cats. So we have no shortage at the moment. We are working with a lot of partner shelters with medical cases, behavior, temperament issues, those sorts of things, but we're trying to really help the organizations that have been maybe left to their own devices for the last few months and are getting a little bit overwhelmed. So really encouraging people that our website is a little bit under supplied with cat pictures right now, but to give us a call because we do have other ones that are coming available.
How do animals react to humans in masks?
So far, they've actually been really responsive. The cats don't seem to bother with it too much. They see a lot of different faces, different things, sights, sounds, smells, so they do really well with it, moving slow, giving them time to adjust. The dogs have also been doing very well, so we're, again, just working with them, moving slow, working with the public, members of the public for meet and greets and things like that, and everybody's been really responsive about it.
If somebody's interested in one of these cute cats, what should people do?
Give us a call at Humane Society. So these guys are going to be a little bit before they go on the website, but definitely reach out to us if you're interested in adopting one of these little guys, and we can give you some information moving forward.
Now, before I sign off for another Thursday from 2060 Main Street West, we do have a fundraising total from Tuesday's Mike Monahan and Furry Friends Golf Scramble Tournament at Osprey Links. The fundraising total is mind-blowing.
Our fundraising manager has notified us that we have got over $20,000 in donations. So absolutely impeccable to help care for these animals. Cats like this would just be homeless, possibly sick, injured, left starving. Who knows what would happen out there if it wasn't for the generous donations that we received. So really grateful for what we've got from the public.
Want to mention one quick note that Clark left out in that story. He said he was 45 over par. Of course, he didn't give his score for the back nine. weather with Clark right after this.
Weather is brought to you by Canadore College. Great things happen here.
An overcast but comfortable Thursday. Welcome back to Cogeco News. I'm Clark Heupel here at the north end of Centennial Park. I am here for your 5-day weather forecast brought to you by Canadore College. Behind me you see overcast skies, and below those overcast skies you see some activity in the park. Very nice to see as Stage 3 is underway in the North Bay Parry Sound District. The coronavirus restrictions are loosening and play is once again allowed in the park. Health officials do urge children and parents of those children to remain socially distant and disinfect before and after equipment use. Let's take a look at that 5-day forecast as Friday is set out to be a fantastic day leading into the weekend. Venturing overnight on this Thursday night, a few clouds in the sky. Perhaps we might see that comet, a low of 14. On Friday, the 24th of July, Greg is getting sick of it. However, I will mention it is the 51st anniversary of the Apollo 11 splashdown on the 24th. Sunny skies, high 27, humidex making it feel like 32, UV index high, wear sunscreen. Friday night, clear skies, a low of 16. On Saturday, the last weekend of July 2020, high 28, low 20. Mix of sun and cloud. Chance of showers overnight into Sunday, and on Sunday we'll have a high at 29 degrees, nearing 30 on the mercury scale. Sunny skies, covered up by the clouds, however, and chance of showers overnight Sunday night into the new work week. A mild low of 21 on Sunday night. Monday, sun and cloud mix, high 28, low 19. Turning the page back to the almanac, on Wednesday we had a comfortable day of 20 and 15 for the high and low. The normals are 25 and 14 this time in July. Sunset, unfortunately, in the 8 o'clock hour now, as we're experiencing sunset at 8:59 Eastern Time each night. There you have it. There is your 5-day weather picture. Do stay tuned. Our Greg Esterbrook will have your sportscast back in North Bay right after this very short break.
Sports is brought to you by Tag Construction for all your construction needs.
Welcome back, everybody. Youth soccer is back. Well, soccer is back, but just practices for now with COVID-19 wrecking the soccer season to this point. Teams have gotten the go-ahead to start on-field work, but it's just workouts. It's a small step, but it is a step in the right direction. Young boys of summer were finally back on the soccer pitch, this being the ONR field, for a practice. And right now, that is all they can do. These U10s coached by Alfredo Ricciuti, who, like the kids, is glad to be back playing soccer, even though it is in a controlled format.
I think the first part was just educating the parents. And then after the coaches and parents understood what the process was, getting the parents to buy in and support, and then help out understand the children so the kids can help understand what the process was as well. So some of the things that were really important as we're going through the return to play was just as easy as, making sure that our entrance points, there's hand sanitizing. So we have to maintain the physical distancing when we're off the field, and then when we come onto the field, we have to also ensure that there's proper physical distancing as well. So we've set up grids and parameters so that the players can maintain the distancing and still allow the coaches to coach as well. So it's quite the process, but we want to have fun, and at the same time, we want to make sure it's a safe environment.
We'll have more on the coach and his players soon. Finally, this guy, Peter Chirico, is now an honorary colonel. He was sworn in today in a virtual ceremony, although there was some family in attendance. He is a huge family. If they were all there, they would have had some issues. Pete, obviously very happy.
Just 5 years prior to my birth. I guess the significance of that tidbit of history is twofold. Number one, I'm old. And number two, I've grown up with CFB North Bay my
You're not getting older, buddy. You're getting better. Congratulations to Honorary Colonel Peter Chirico. That's it for news, weather, and sports. We'll see you again for more live news Friday at 5.